Hello, and welcome to the Book Marketing Simplified podcast. I'm Jenn Hanson-dePaula.
And I'm Marcus-dePaula. And Jen, we have made it through another year.
Yes, by
Just
the skin
barely.
of our teeth.
That's right. We're recording this at the end of 2021. You thought it might be a good idea to give authors some things to think about as they prepare for the new year. And this should apply to 2022, 2023, whenever they listen to this.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest things that we can do to set ourselves up for success in the coming year, or even if you're listening to this in the middle of the year, if you decide that you need a reset or you need to kind of reassess things, making a plan and making it doable and strategic is very helpful. So I thought this is just a great time of year to plan and to get ready to set yourself up for success.
And some people get a little bent out of shape about, well, it's just a day on the calendar in January. But the way I see it is during the holidays, we all kind of wind down a little bit and we kind of take a break and step back. And that's a perfect time to reevaluate and make plans for the new year. So that's what you wanted to talk about, was plan making, right?
Yeah, and it's not resolutions.
Right.
It's nothing like that. This is actually very strategic.
Yes.
And it's not about just wishing, it's about planning and doing.
This is not a motivational podcast per se.
No.
We hope you find motivation in
Yes.
it, but our main goal is to give you practical ways to improve your marketing plan.
Absolutely. And I know I get this way, and I know that many other people get this way too. There's this air of excitement at the end of the year of thinking, okay, I have a fresh start. I have a new beginning. I can dive into this. It can be overwhelming. You can be very ambitious, and I love ambition, but sometimes that ambition makes us overplan and become discouraged, honestly.
Get stuck.
Yes. And so I wanted to give authors a very doable strategy that they can apply.
All right, so where do we start?
So the first thing, this is something that I started doing last year. It's said by all of the planning professionals, and I've been hearing this for years, but I finally put it into practice, and now I can see why it's so important. The first step is to assess this previous year.
Okay.
Because so many times we get down on ourselves and we get stuck in our minds all the things that we didn't do. And when we only focus on that, we get down on ourselves and we get frustrated that I'm not nearly as far as what I had wanted to be. It's hard because we focus more on what didn't happen. What you don't realize is how much you really did accomplish. And so looking back at the year, making a list of everything that you accomplished, I think you will be very, very surprised at how much you actually did get done. You might not have got to the top of the mountain that you wanted to reach, but you still made significant strides towards getting to the top of the mountain that you want to reach.
So what kind of things can we look back at to assess?
So even looking at the goals that you had at the beginning of the year, if you wanted to finish your book by the end of this year and you didn't reach that, but you wrote 70,000 words, that's amazing. You are a good chunk into actually getting your book done. If one of your goals was to have an agent by the end of the year, but you made 30 calls and send inquiries and all this stuff, you were able to assess, okay, this group of people turned me down, but I'm going to focus on this group. You really did accomplish a lot in reaching your goal. It's not this straight line. It's always going to be up and down. So seeing what you have actually gotten out of the way, and you've said, okay, this group of people didn't accept me, but now I'm going to focus on this group.
Right.
So it's really seeing what did happen and what didn't happen and seeing the good in how that helps you to ultimately reach your goal.
So what about marketing goals? What metrics should they be looking at if they look at their insights for the year?
If you look at specifically like Instagram, you can look at your growth for the whole year. We tend to focus so much just on that number of followers when that is not the case. You want to look at how much your engagement grew, how much your reach grew, and your overall presence. It's not just about hitting a specific number of followers. It's about seeing that engagement grow. And if you look at the whole year, you will see the growth that you have made. And that is significant.
I also like to look at our website analytics.
Yes.
And try to figure out what it was that you posted that people responded to whenever there was a spike.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like with the Squarespace analytics, I know Google probably does this too, is you can compare it to the same time period the previous year.
Yes.
And that is really cool because you can see not just the growth over the past year, but how it compared to that previous time frame.
Yeah, and the same goes with your newsletter subscription service. They usually have the growth from one year to the next. And so paying attention to that growth and to paying attention to the analytics is important across the board.
All right, so once we've gotten a good sense of where we've been this year, how do we look forward?
Well, I learned something very, very interesting over the past month from a book that I'm reading. I've always been a big fan of Mel Robbins. She's a motivational speaker, but she's also an author, and she wrote a book called The 5-Second Rule. And I recently saw an interview that she did. It was on YouTube, and she talked about the difference between goals and dreams. And I think that this is really important, especially for authors. Dreams are very big, and they're very spacious. Mm-hmm. But they don't necessarily have a time frame associated with them. Mm. So, for example, I dream of becoming a New York Times bestselling author. Mm-hmm. I dream of being a traditionally published author. Mm-hmm. These are big, big dreams. A goal is almost your to-do list for the dream. Mm. And the goal is actionable. It is, but it also has a time frame associated with it.
Okay.
It has an end date. A dream does not have an end date,
Gotcha.
But a goal does. I talk to so many authors who are just starting their first book, and they have all these huge, huge dreams, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. But they have not made goals in order to actually reach that dream. So it makes it very tangible. What I would encourage authors to do is to list out their dreams. What are those dreams that you want to accomplish in your lifetime? Not in the next year, but in your lifetime.
Yeah.
And then thinking about tangible goals that you want to set for this year that have a due date, mm-hmm. and that help contribute to get near those dreams. So, for example, let's say that your big dream is to get a traditional publishing deal. So one of your goals for this year could be growing your audience to 10,000 followers across the board on your social media outlets. Mm-hmm. It could be getting an agent. It could be writing your manuscript. Mm-hmm. It could be many different things. But it's those steps that you need to take to actually achieve your goal.
Do you have a template that authors could use to help them set goals?
Well, there's the SMART method, and SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timing. So when you're specific with your goal, it's saying it's not just being general, like I want to be a New York Times bestseller. It's being something like, I want to sell 1,000 copies of my book in the next 3 months.
Right.
So if you want to sell 1,000 books in the next 3 months, that means you have to sell 333 books per month.
That's a lot.
Yes, which also means that you have to sell 83 books a week.
So that's where the achievable comes in.
Yes, because it's measurable.
Right.
You have those numbers, and it's relevant to what you're trying to achieve. And then the timing, having a specific time frame.
The 3 months.
Yes. And so it's not being vague. If you say, I want to sell a lot of books, that's not specific. You can't measure it. None of the above. So being smart with your goals is a great way to outline specific tasks that you need to do in order to actually achieve them.
And I know for me, even just with client projects that I'm working on, whether it's a website or a podcast or whatever, once I actually look at the timing versus the achievable mm-hmm. with everything else that's going on in life, mm-hmm. very often I have to make an adjustment for that goal. And that's okay.
Absolutely.
Because I want to achieve that goal. I don't want to just say, oh, well, I'm a failure. This is never going to happen. So instead of 83 books a week to sell, what if you do 8 books a week.
Yeah. And being that specific and measurable kind of makes you go, oh gosh, that might be a little too ambitious right now.
Right.
And that is totally fine. You can absolutely work up to it. And that also brings me to the fourth point is instead of planning the entire year, plan in quarters. So every 3 months,
right,
every 90 days, and setting a reminder in your calendar. Make a list of all of your goals that you would like to achieve this year. Pick the top 3 that you want to accomplish first and have those 3 goals be set for the first quarter. And then once you finish the quarter at the end of March, you can look at those goals that you worked on. Do some of them need to carry over into the next quarter, or what can you add to your list that you can focus on in the second quarter? So it's all about breaking it down into chunks. And that's something that I've learned the hard way over the past few years. I've gone full hog in December. I plan out our entire year. And then by January, we realize, oh, crud, this isn't going to work. And I just spent like a week, planning all this stuff. And so that's something that I've learned is looking at it in 3-month chunks. So you can see growth, you can see where you are, but you can also make some adjustments and carry them over into the next quarter.
I've always liked the analogy of like taking a cross-country road trip. And so I know that I want to make it to Seattle. You want to see where you want to stop along the way because there's no way you can make it in one trip. So like you said, breaking it up into chunks. Then also, if there's weather or if there's something that we hear about, a good restaurant or a good national park or something, and we decide we need to change our route, that's okay as long as we're still heading in that relevant direction, the R of the SMART, to make it towards that goal.
Yes. And that's what we do in our one-on-one coaching and in the Instagram Accelerator process. It's something that I call you mark up your map. My dad, when we were little, he would bring out the map and go, okay, time to mark it up because we were going to plan a road trip.
Right.
And that's also something too with being specific with your goals, using the road trip analogy of saying, I want to go to California and you're in Maine. It's like, okay, what part of California?
Yeah,
it's the whole
Sacramento.
Yes, it's like the whole length of the United States. And so you have to say, okay, I want to go to San Francisco. So you can plan how to get there from Maine to San Francisco. If you were just to say California, you could end up anywhere and it would completely alter your route. It would be 10 times more expensive. It would be frustrating. You would probably be divorced by the end of it, of the road trip. And, it's just way more frustrating. So this is all about helping you achieve your goals, but also to do it in a way that is doable, that will set yourself up for success. And so you aren't going to be pulling your hair out at the end of the quarter. It's going to be simplified.
All right, so for the make it happen moment for our listeners, how about you give them an idea or two of what type of goal they could set as it relates specifically to their marketing?
For the make it happen moment, one goal that I think that every author should have, especially in this first quarter, and this is doable, is to gain 30 new newsletter subscribers.
Okay.
That is 10 subscribers every month. And then the second goal I want to encourage everyone to do is to do something new that they have not done on social media.
So like a new content piece.
A new content piece. If you have never tried a reel, give reels a try.
Best way to reach new people.
Yes. And if maybe you've never gone live before, trying a live. If you've never made a carousel, try doing a carousel. Stretch yourself. Don't stay in that comfortable spot. They're 2 very doable goals that you can try.
And you have given plenty of ideas and resources on our website.
Yes. We have a ton of content over at Mixus Media that can help you get started. And we have it broken down into sections. So if you're looking for newsletter help, if you're looking for book marketing help, social media help, it's all laid out there.
We'll have the links in the episode notes as well.
And if you want to go a step further, and if you need help with your marketing and social media, we do have paid resources as well. The first one is our Instagram Accelerator process, which is our brand new online course. It's a go at your own pace course. It's really a full marketing plan done through Instagram. And then we also have our coaching programs that I work with you one-on-one to walk you through the whole marketing process, and we get a plan and process set up ready for you to go.
So no matter what stage you're at, we have something that will help you on our website, and we're here to help. That's
Absolutely.
why we do this podcast.
And because of that, be sure to share these episodes. Let other authors know that might benefit from this as well.
Because we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
And we've got some great things coming up this new year. So
yes,
stay
we
tuned.
do. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.